Hello and welcome to the Voice of Liberty. Tonight we're going to talk about the NRA, the left, and guns. We, of course, are going to do this because in the United States of America, there are some horrible misconceptions. The first being that the NRA at all stands for your gun rights and or defends them. The second, that Democrats are leftists. And the third one being that the left wants to take your guns. Of course, we want to talk about this because today, in the world of the NRA, in the world of the Republican Party, and in the world of Donald Trump, some things came out of New York and New York's Attorney General where they are, the state of New York is pushing a lawsuit against the NRA, seeking to dissolve the NRA. And of course, once this hit Donald Trump and got his attention, of course, he freaked out about it, and he had to tweet about it. And in his tweet, Donald Trump said, just like the radical left, New York is trying to destroy the NRA. If Biden becomes president, your great Second Amendment doesn't have a chance. Your guns will be taken away immediately and without notice. No police, no guns. Of course, what we're witnessing here and what we're seeing here is Donald Trump mischaracterizing a few things. And I'm going to break them down here. And for anybody watching that doesn't understand this, hopefully this kind of awakens you and enlightens you as to where certain truths are. Okay? The first thing is when Donald Trump refers to the radical left, he's referring to the Democrats, particularly, usually people like the Squad, and then he groups in anarchists and Antifa and all that into it. The problem here is that the United States is the only country where the Democratic Party would ever be considered to be left. If you took the Democratic Party, and I've said this on my podcast multiple times, if you took the Democratic Party and picked them up and dropped them into the political system of almost any other country out there, they would literally fall just over the center line to the right or a little bit more towards moderate right. In fact, in the United States, the Republican and Democratic parties aren't too far off of each other as far as the political spectrum goes. So right off the bat, Donald Trump is just playing on the complete misnomer that the Democrats are leftists. And as a leftist, it's kind of getting a little tiresome to even talk about this. Because when he calls the Democrats leftists become the target of violence and rage. See, what Donald Trump, his supporters, and most of the United States doesn't understand is that real leftists are people like myself, anarcho-syndicalists. Some people are going to cringe with the next word, anarcho-communists. People on the literal left side of things, anarchists, people who identify as anti-fascist, people who agree with voluntary socialism and voluntary communism. People like Peter Kropotkin and, dare I say, at points in his works, Karl Marx. See, that's the left. But Donald Trump plays on the inability for the people in the United States to actually recognize this. Now we move into the NRA. Now, the NRA is being investigated, or has been being investigated, and is being sued because they decided to take membership money and start using it for personal gain and personal benefit. They use this membership money to charter flights and to pay for lavish vacations and lavish houses. They used money that was supporting gun rights, and they used it for their own personal gain. Now, what most people who are NRA members or supporters of the NRA don't realize is that the NRA has literally not done anything for your gun rights. In fact, they have been behind some of the most damaging bills against your gun rights. See, the NRA, they supported the assault weapons ban. The NRA helped with multiple of the bans that Reagan put out there. The NRA has never been a staunch supporter of gun rights. To use common slang, they're a bunch of fuds. That's who they are. They tromp around and pretend to support gun rights while supporting gun legislation that impedes on your rights. Now, are there some good gun rights organizations out there. Yes. The one that I know of would be the SRA, the Socialist Rifle Association. I know that's going to cause some people to cringe, but hear me out. They actually support the right for the workers to own a gun. They support the right for the worker to defend themselves. The NRA has been actively working to ensure that certain people can have guns as long as they have the money to do it. So, of course, Donald Trump is freaking out and mixing facts and what's happening with assumptions, saying that, the NRA disappearing is the equivalent of the Second Amendment disappearing, saying that if Biden becomes president, the Second Amendment will disappear, not at all acknowledging the fact that, honestly, if Biden became president, he would still have to work that type of legislation through Congress, and that it probably wouldn't succeed. Unless there was a major shift in the House and the Senate. But that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with Donald Trump attempting to create a situation where his people want to target the left, where his people feel like they're in a situation where they either vote for Donald, who will defend your Second Amendment, ignore some of the very things that he said in the past, take guns first, worry about due process second, where he's banned the bump stocks, where he's talked about banning silencers, stuff like that. I mean, total, complete infringements on the Second Amendment. Hey, we can ignore that because Donald Trump wants you to think the left wants your guns. See, we're going to revert all the way back to what I wanted to hit on big time here. The left doesn't want your guns. The true leftists. The true leftists in various works across anarchist thought, across voluntary socialist thought, across voluntary communist thought, the left has always supported the right to own weapons. The left has always defended the idea of the people having weapons in order to protect themselves from a fascist regime, an authoritarian or a totalitarian regime. If you read some of the various works throughout the true left's history, you get quotes like this one from Peter Kropotkin. Two things are necessary to be successful in a revolution: an idea in the head and a bullet in the rifle. The force of action guided by the force of anarchist thought. So you get quotes like that. That's what you find in the left. You also get this one, which is one of the ones that is more commonly used by leftists to defend the ownership of weapons. It actually comes from Karl Marx. Under no pretext should arms and ammunition be surrendered. Any attempt to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force if necessary. See, to be clear, if there's anyone out there that does want your guns, it would be the corporate Democrats, the Republicans, the liberals. It wouldn't be the true leftists. True leftists stand proudly with guns. And in fact, for a while, the right's been actually pretty silent about this. And the reason is because true leftists have actually been putting their money where their mouth is and kind of shutting up the Republican Party and the conservatives and the alt-right. They've been going to protests and standing with their weapons. They've been going out there and displaying their weapons and saying, we have them too. In fact, there was a firestorm ignited this past week by a lady on Twitter who goes by the name of Savvy. She posted a picture of herself with her weapon, and it was a direct target at the wonderful Caitlin Bennett, saying, "Tell gun girl I said us too." It was her standing with her gun in front of the communist flag, and a direct challenge saying, the left is here and the left does have guns. We're not coming for guns. We know the usefulness of guns. Of course, everybody knows Caitlin Bennett, the one who posed with her gun on college campus and parades around saying, you know I carry. See, this is the situation we deal with, though. In the United States, we have become the mainstream political system has ingrained people so much to believe that Democrats are the left, and that the left wants your guns, and that the only way to protect your gun rights is to support the NRA and to support the Republican in office. The only way to protect your gun rights in your Second Amendment is to put more Republicans in office. That's what they say. But here's the thing. If you really want to support gun rights and you want to support your right to keep and bear arms, I would start looking outside the NRA. I've heard from some people within the Libertarian Party that Gun Owners of America is a great place to look at. I personally would say SRA is an amazing place to look at. And if you really want to start supporting the rights to keep and bear arms, I'd start looking to be an anarchist and to look towards anarchist thought as the future for what this country looks like. Because only then are we equal, and only then are we free, and only then do we have our guns. Because under no pretext should they be taken. Be a voice of liberty. Awaken the voice of liberty.